By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
All right, so are you ready for a deep dive today? Because we are tackling career changes.
Yeah.
But we're not just talking about giving your resume a little facelift.
Yeah.
We're talking like full on, you reinvention.
Yeah.
And to help us with this, we are dissecting your notes and a really fascinating interview with a career and expat coach named Michelle Clark.
Okay.
And this was from the No BS Job Search Advice podcast.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. So she seems like she really knows her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that she really emphasizes is that this idea of a career change, it's really about so much more than just switching out your job title.
Yeah, you're not just slapping a new coat of paint on the same old thing, are you?
Exactly. It's about really aligning who you are at your core with what you're doing.
It's a lot deeper than some people think.
And that can feel kind of scary, right?
Absolutely. It's stepping into the unknown.
But Michelle actually says that feeling of fear, that like, oh my gosh, what am I doing, is actually a good sign. Yeah, it means that you're open to like new possibilities.
Okay, so it's like a positive indicator that you're on the right track.
I like that way of looking at it.
Me too.
Instead of being so afraid of that feeling, it's like, oh, this is good. This means I'm on the right track.
Yeah, lean into that discomfort.
I like that.
So where do you even begin with this whole process?
Well, it sounds like one of the first things Michelle has her clients do is really dive deep into their values.
Okay, values clarification. That's huge.
Yeah, and not just like making a list, but really defining what those words mean to them.
Oh, I get it. Because like success could mean a million different things to a million different people.
Exactly. Like for me, success for a long time, I thought it meant, having a corner office and like this fancy title.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized that what I really wanted was flexibility and freedom.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be able to set my own hours and work from anywhere.
There you go. See, so you uncovered your true values.
Once I figured that out,
Mm-hmm.
it like totally changed my whole career trajectory.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you get real with yourself about what truly matters.
Yeah, and Michelle talks about this too. It's like sometimes you have to get rid of things that are no longer serving you. And she uses this phrase, disposing of internal goodies.
Okay, disposing of internal goodies.
I know.
Now I have to hear more about this.
I know, right?
What does that even mean?
Tell me about it, because it sounds kind of intriguing and kind of terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, like what are we throwing out here?
Right. So, okay, let's say you've done that work. You identified some of those internal goodies that you're ready to get rid of.
Yeah.
How do you actually go from that to figuring out like, okay, what should I be doing?
Right, it's like staring at a blank page.
Exactly.
Where do you even start?
Yeah.
Well, Michelle actually calls this next stage the research phase.
Okay.
But it's not the kind of research you might be thinking, like, researching companies.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about researching yourself and researching the job market in a way that's actually kind of fun.
Okay. I am intrigued. Tell me more.
So she has her clients go on job boards and look at job descriptions, but not to apply for anything.
Okay.
Just to pay attention to what sparks their interest.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, like what are the job titles that make you go, huh, that sounds kind of interesting.
Right. Or like, what are the skills listed that you're like, oh, I've always wanted to learn how to do that.
Exactly. It's like you're on a treasure hunt for your future self.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. And I think it's really smart because it takes the pressure off of like having to have it all figured out.
Right. Because I think so often we get stuck in this like, I don't even know what I'm looking for mode.
Yeah.
And this is like a way to kind of just explore and see what's out there.
Totally. And you might surprise yourself with what you discover.
Yeah. And it's funny because she gives this example of this guy who used to work in like a really high level government position.
Okay.
And he thought that like his main skills were, policy analysis and all this kind of stuff. But then through this process, he realized that what he really loved was moving people and organizing teams.
Interesting.
And so he ended up like completely shifting his career to do something that was more aligned with those skills.
That's so cool. And it makes sense because we can get so caught up in like the label of what we do,
Right.
that we forget about the actual skills and passions that we're bringing to the table.
Totally. And I think this research phase can really help with that because it allows you to kind of see your skills and your experience in a new light.
Absolutely. And it also helps you identify any gaps or areas where you might want to develop new skills.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Which can be really exciting too.
Yeah, like giving yourself permission to like learn something new and grow.
Exactly. And that kind of ties into the next thing Michelle talks about, which is personal branding.
Okay, but like not the cheesy kind of personal branding.
No, not at all.
Because I feel like that word sometimes has such negative connotations.
I know what you mean, like those elevator pitches.
Oh, yeah.
It's also forced.
Yeah, so what does she mean by personal branding?
Well, she's all about bringing your full authentic self to the table, quirks and all
I
that.
love that.
Yeah, like she even encourages people to share their passions and interests online.
Even if they seem like totally unrelated to their career.
Exactly, because those things are still part of who you are.
Right, like I might be a lawyer,
Yeah.
but I also might be like a huge knitter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay to share that part of myself.
Absolutely. In fact, it might even make you more memorable.
Right, because it makes you more human.
Exactly. It's about standing out from the crowd in a way that feels genuine and authentic.
Yeah, and I think in a world where everyone's trying to be so perfect and polished online,
Oh, tell me about it.
it's like those imperfections and those quirks that actually make you more relatable
How
and more likely to connect with people on a deeper level.
Exactly, because people can spot a fake a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're genuinely enthusiastic about what you do and who you are, that shines through.
Yeah, and that enthusiasm is contagious. It makes people want to learn more about you and what you have to offer.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're embracing your authentic self. You're excited about the possibilities.
Yeah.
But then comes the scary part, right? Actually putting yourself out there,
Oh, yeah.
like actually taking action.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly, and that's where Michelle talks about this idea of experimentation.
Okay, so tell me more about this experimentation phase.
So it's like career change is like kind of like jumping off the high dive,
Yeah, there's that element of risk, isn't there?
but you don't just like jump off the high dive without like knowing how to swim.
Exactly. It's about building those skills and that confidence before you take the plunge.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, Michelle says to think of it like learning any new skill.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't expect to just wake up one day and be able to play the piano like a concert pianist, right?
Right.
It takes practice and it takes experimentation. And yes, it probably takes making a few mistakes along the way.
Yeah, I am very familiar with the making mistakes part.
But those mistakes are how we learn and grow.
That's a good way to look at it.
So instead of beating yourself up for not having it all figured out, embrace the wobbly figuring it out stage.
Okay, no more beating myself up. I can get behind that.
Okay.
But that does bring up the whole like interviewing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because even for someone who's not making a big career change, interviews are terrifying.
Oh, tell me about it.
So does Michelle have any advice for like how to actually show up for those conversations?
She does, and it's good.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So she says one of the best things you can do is actually to ask your own questions.
Okay, but like not the typical boring interview questions, right?
No, not those. She's got some really interesting ones.
Okay, like what? Give me an example.
One of her favorites is to ask, if I were excelling in this role, what would that look like?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right, because it shows that you're already thinking about what success looks like, and it shows that you're ambitious and you're driven.
Yeah. And it's also a way to like kind of get them to be more specific about their expectations.
Yeah, exactly, because sometimes job descriptions are kind of vague.
Well, for sure.
And this is a way to be like, okay, but what does that actually mean in practice?
I like that. And I bet it makes you stand out from other candidates.
Definitely, because most people are so busy trying to impress the interviewer that they forget to actually ask questions.
That's so true.
And then she has another one that's even bolder.
Okay, hit me with it.
She suggests also asking, if I'm not excelling, how will you let me know?
Whoa. Okay, that is bold.
Right.
But I kind of love it.
It's like you're saying, I'm here to learn, and I'm not afraid of feedback.
Exactly. It's like acknowledging that you're not perfect,
Yeah, and that you're open to growth.
which I think is such a valuable quality in an employee.
Oh, absolutely. And it shows a level of self-awareness that a lot of people just don't have.
It's refreshing to hear somebody ask for that feedback up front,
Right, because let's be real, most people don't actually want feedback.
especially not when it comes to their job performance.
But by asking for it up front, you're showing that you're different.
Yeah, you're showing that you're serious about growth and development.
Exactly.
This has been so eye-opening. Like, my mind is officially blown.
Mine too, and we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We really have, from like facing the fear of change
Yeah.
to embracing our authentic selves.
Rocking those job interviews.
I know, right? And let's not forget about those internal goodies that we need to dispose of.
Because sometimes letting go of the old is the best way to make room for the new.
So true. So if you're feeling stuck in your career, remember, you are not alone.
There's a whole world of possibilities out there,
And it all starts with taking that first step.
even if it's a small one.
Exactly. Yeah. So what resonated most with you from today's deep dive?
What internal goodies are you ready to let go of?
Head over to our social media and let's continue the conversation.